I likewise have not made that first report that's due in mid-April of the next month, but the vast majority of our funds to date have come from Indiana. But what we are finding is that there are people all across the country who have donated online that are very familiar with my consistent, conservative, liberty-minded record that I accumulated in the House of Representatives. And I believe that by November of this year, you're going to see people all over the country realize that we get an opportunity to vote for about 33, maybe 34 members of the United States Senate. And since they can't vote for someone in their own state or support someone in their own state, they're going to send a lot of money to Indiana in order to send a liberty-minded, consistent, conservative voter to the United States Senate. And as well, I'll give you my commercial. It's www.johnhostettler.com, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
We have two rebuttals. Who was first? Mr. Bates.
Ambassador Coates, you're my friend. And with all due respect, you know I would never show you disrespect on this stage. But we didn't need someone who had beaten him, had run twice and won statewide. I firmly believe the American people were going to and will speak in this election. I didn't run, and I'm not running to build name ID. I was running to stop and am running to stop Barack Obama. And I believe with all of my heart that we didn't need 13 million to beat Evan by. And I believe the American people, Hoosiers, are going to speak in this election, and it wasn't going to take someone who'd run statewide before. And that's almost insulting, because these guys have worked extremely hard month after month after month, and I believe we will prevail. With all due respect, sir.
Well, I'd like to say that we were running against Evan Bayh before it was cool. We started after the election of President Barack Obama because we anticipated this sort of an agenda. We anticipated a liberal agenda both out of Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, and we believed it was time for us to challenge Senator Bayh and to have a true conservative in Washington, D.C. to represent Hoosiers. And I don't want to give you the wrong notion that we don't take money from out-of-state folks, because we do. There's people from all over this country who are now looking to Indiana and saying, we can send a leader who's willing to stand up for his conservative principles and that's going to stand up in Washington against Harry Reid and against Nancy Pelosi and fight for Hoosier values and fight for American values. So I believe that it's time for us to look at the candidates and let's take an examination of who is out here because of conviction and principle, not because Washington wanted them to run.
Thank you.
I hate to use my last rebuttal.
Mr. Beatty first.
Hey, Brother Coates, I got to tell you, I
Got to get it from all sides here.
Oh, you're going to get it. You're going to get it, brother. I'll let you know that you have over $400,000 in your campaign war chest, and it doesn't come mostly from outside of our state. You know, I've heard my neighbors here talk about that they got in this race because they were concerned about the vulnerability of Evan Bayh. I was never concerned with the vulnerability of Evan Bayh. I was concerned with the vulnerability of our republic, and that's why I entered this race. And I've been all over our state and have spoken with thousands of Hoosiers throughout this whole grassroots movement who are standing strong, who also are concerned with the vulnerability of our republic. And I believe if we stand together, and we must stand together come May 4th, that it doesn't matter the amount of our war chest, but it's our vote that will reclaim our republic.
I'm not sure where you got that number, because that's not what they gave me, but maybe they're hiding. No, the FEC report hasn't been filed yet. There's no 400,000. There's been no report filed yet. Look, there are 5 good people here. We're all conservatives. The differences between us are relatively very small. We're applying for the job. We're all working hard. We all want the same things. We want to take this country back. The worst thing that we can do is run each other down, because whoever wins, is going to have to take on a Democrat who's going to be well-funded. Evan just gave him $15 million yesterday. And money's going to pour in from unions and other places all over the country. What we need to do is stand beside whoever wins in May and give them our full support. Because the important thing is to elect a Republican to replace a Democrat who's leaving. And let's all stay together and make sure that happens.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the Huntington Group. Where do you stand on government subsidies, such as for biofuels, farming, and etc.? Mr. Bates.
Is this a backhanded question on earmarks?
Let me consult with the Huntington Group. No.
First of all, I'm opposed to the earmark system as is. I believe it's deeply flawed, and I will not accept earmarks. Now, if the federal government wants to lower taxes for small businesses and family farms to incentivize and help them, I'm all in favor of that. I haven't given a lot of thought to repeat it again, biodiesel, biofuels, and
Farming, subsidies, and etc.
I believe that farmers do a much better job managing their own money than the federal government managing it for them and giving them back a portion of their money in that measure. So I think the answer for me personally is cut taxes. Give the farmer back more of his own money. He shouldn't be having to rely on the federal government to assist him, in my opinion.
You know, being a businessman, I've actually created 2 businesses literally from my kitchen table. One I grew nationally. I've created millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs. When I lost that in a hostile takeover to a Chinese company, by the way, they're very friendly. I got the grand idea of starting a plumbing company, and we did just that, and I've grown that. And I know that if I get the government out of my pocket and out of my life, I can achieve things, I can do things. Right now, my business is down 60%. If I can get the government even more out of my life, I can recover. No, I don't believe in any kind of support whatsoever, especially from a federal government.
Two responses there. One, we need more energy independence. And so we need to at least look at all across the spectrum in terms of how we achieve that independence and get away from dependence on the Middle East oil. We have coal in abundance here, we can produce clean coal. We have natural gas in abundance, we can produce natural gas. Solar and wind, I served in Germany for 4 years. It was subsidized, and it was subsidized the way politicians always subsidize it. And that is everybody's got to get their fair share. So 3/4 of Germany, the wind doesn't blow very much, but everybody's got their same number of windmills. 3/4 of Germany, the sun doesn't shine very much, but everybody's got their solar panels. So when you turn this thing over to the federal government and you add subsidies, then it distorts the market business, and everybody ends up paying more for energy and more for the benefit of that. So diversify, yes, but it's got to make a cost efficiency test and the cost effectiveness test before you go forward with it. Otherwise, everybody just pays for something that doesn't do the job.
A portion of the energy policy that Congress passed while I was there was a tax credit for ethanol production to allow for those who produce the product to keep more of their money. You will find in my record a consistent desire to let people, in whatever situation, businesses who hire people, individuals who are trying to make a way for themselves, heads of family that are trying to make things, have consistently voted to lower taxes across the board. And so the tax credit is something that I support then, and I continue to support more tax credits. And I believe that ultimately we have to look at all government spending as we are in the midst of a $1.6 trillion. And so we can't take anything off the table as we look to preserve our republic and not bankrupt it for the next generation.